In the last video help tutorial, we went through this screen in detail. We're going to go through, as I suggested, and go through each one of the little screens here in the buttons and take a look at what they have in that screen. The first thing I want to point out when you're using this application is that you use this menu option and don't use any other things that are built into the iPad keypad and so forth as far as navigating. Use this to navigate. We'll be covering the iPad keyboard and phone keyboard. Basically, the video will be on the iPad, and we'll discover some things about using the iPad and its interface. To start with, let's go ahead and walk through some of these screens. I'll be coming back to the video help tutorials over here, this button, and right now we're on the Add Client button. This screen will have a little different look on the iPad and iPhone, so I'll be covering that in detail on the next video, which is going to close out the video tutorials. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go down through each one of these screens. Let's start with the Customer List View. The Customer List View, if you recall from when we were in the subscreen in the calendar, we created some default records, and these three records here were the default records. They were 3, 4, and 5 of the records that were in there. There's total 5 records in the application at this point. Being number 1 and number 2, they were added in the subscreen and have a lot of the data in it right now for the clients that we're looking at. If you want to do a find on any of these screens, you would go over here if you wanted to look for any portion of or any field that's used in here, including the property notes field. You would go ahead and say start the find, and it would flip the fields over and give you one, and you'll see little magnifying glasses in here. You can use for example, it says client name and primary contact, or any of the information you see in these fields. You can use either one field to find the record, or you can combine it with other fields in the record in order to get something in detail that you want. For example, if you know the customer ID, you could just throw that in there. You could look for a certain status, so for everyone that has a status that you're looking for, you would drop this down and pick that particular status that you're looking for, like new account would be one. But I'm going to do something, and I'm going to show you, which I've shown before. If you do a portion of the actual name or anything that's in there, for example, it says VAUGHN, and I don't even have the N on there for this name, but I'm going to go ahead and run the find anyhow to see if it'll find it. So let's just do a test and see if that works. So do the find, and it finds the record. Obviously, you can see all the information is in there. You see the ID is ID number 2. It does not have a cell phone, but it has a home phone number in there. Let's go ahead and show all the records again. Say show all the records. And as I showed you or spoke about it, you can also click in a record, go to the Do Action menu and say Omit. Now watch the record I highlighted with a bar on the end of it. If I say Omit the record, you'll see that it took it out of the current set of records. You can do that for any of these or all of these records down to the one you want, and then you can do the reverse of that. Do Action, Show Omitted Only, and it just shows the one record we picked originally. And then if you want to show them all again, go back to Show All Records again. So that's how you navigate using the Do Action menu. You can also export data, and it's basically done from a list view, so you can pick the information that you want. You would go ahead and title it. I'm just going to, for the heck of it, say Untitled. And you'll see in this screen that you can pick any of these fields over here and move them over here, or move all the fields. If I come up here and tapped on this, I could say move it and move the cell phone. So if I'm building a list of addresses that I want to use to send out emails, I could do that, and I could set it up. For example, I can also navigate up to the person's name, customer, and then I can go up here and I can say primary customer name and go ahead and put that over there. Now I can also navigate up here and say put the customer name first, address, and cell phone. So that's what I want to do, and I'd say export. When I say export, it would go ahead and produce an export record and export the data, and you have different language and so forth, and then you can also group it. Say for example, if one of these fields is like the customer ID, I can go ahead and move that customer ID into this over here by highlighting it, and then the customer ID would also be in there. I can apply the current layout for the data formatting, and that would put it in this order here. If I wanted to just dump it all and say move it all over there, and then it would be in order by the way it shows on the actual layout in the screen. Then you would click export and it would create the record, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, so that's what we can do. And normally you would use a list view to export information. That way you know you're in the right screen and all the data is present that you want to use. Okay, let's go to the next screen. That would be the related contact screen, which is a portal record. This is an individual portal row, and then there's some additional information from the customer screen up here so you know who you're talking about as far as this person. If they had a picture of the person, or say for example it's a real estate thing, you could have a real estate picture up here if you wanted to of the actual dwelling that the person is probably selling or buying, one of the two. In a contact screen like this, what you're actually doing is you're taking each individual related contact. So if this was the primary and it was the husband and then there was a wife, you could have the wife information down here. If it's a business type of a thing and it's a primary contact and then the secondary contact. Now recall, anytime you create a primary contact, the first new record you're going to put in related contacts is the primary contact. This gives you the ability to use that information when you're sorting and going through the records in the related contact screen in the list view. You can also put notes down here about that particular contact. Okay, let's go to the next screen. The next screen is the customer contacts list that we just talked about. And you can see these are related contacts for the list view for the related contacts. And now you can search and find that you do have the primary contact in there as well, and then other people that you want to use. Now, the person that we did the demonstration for this was a broker in a real estate office. So a lot of the things you're going to see in there are related to like a sales agent or a broker, for example. Okay, let's go ahead and go to the next screen. If you wanted to go back and edit this record in the contact screen we just left, you can click the edit button over here and it'll take you back there. Okay, let's go to the next screen, which is the UDF screen. If you had a number of records that had a specific title and field input, like 1 and 2 and so forth, the field data that you want to put in there would find all the records that have that matching data. So this is for every record in the application. If you wanted to cycle through the screens, go next and prior, this ID up here would change based on the actual screen that you're working with as far as the customer is concerned. You can use this button to go back to the customer record for number 1's ID and then look at the UDF information that's in your user-defined fields. Okay, let's go to the next one. And we did UDF's activity track. The activity track is actually the individual forms that we were using for activities and records. The next one, and you can use the edit button to go back to that particular record, but you're in it right now, so it's not that hard. We had activity, then we have the activity list. This is a list of all the individual activity records that are in the database, and you can use this edit button to take you to the individual records for each one of the records that are in that screen. And of course you can navigate, or you can do a find in here if you need to for the activity list. Let's go ahead and go down to the Action Track portal. And the Action Track portal is the form that we talked about before in the prior videos. It has the client name as the primary contact, and it has the information up here at the top that shows primary contact. It has the date and an action name for the action that you're doing, the start date and the date it's supposed to be completed, and the finished when it's actually done. The person it's assigned to, and the ID for the particular record that we're viewing up here, and then the assignment for the action item down here. You can delete these if you have to. It'll take out the portal row within the action screen if you had to do that. And again, the edit button would take you back to that particular record, number 1. Okay, we're going down here. We're going to look at the meeting track. In the meeting track, this is the one that has a form again, and this is for meeting records, and it has the information for the meeting date, the time, and the location, and the ID for the person that is in this record. And then we're going to have the narration as far as what's going to be in here as far as agenda. You can preface this by putting a 1 number, 2 number, 3 number on the different items that are in the agenda, and then you would have the individuals that attended or are supposed to attend as far as the attendance list, and then notes about the meeting as far as what was covered and so forth. And you can also put those in there as far as a note as far as the 1, 2, 3, 4 as far as the notes are concerned within the meeting. Edit the record by clicking on edit. It'll take you back. And actually you could edit it right from here, but this would take you back to the main record in the customer screen. The next one is the meeting track list view, and this is where you'd find each one of the meetings as far as their sequence and number and the ID number of the record, which is actually the customer ID, and the date, time, and where the location was for that meeting. And once again, all you have to do is just click on the button. It'll take you back to the record that had the meeting in it, and this would be the meeting data that we just viewed. Okay, that's pretty much all the different screens that you're going to be working through as far as information is concerned. Now, with this particular tutorial, if you have questions or you have any difficulty using the information, be sure to contact us through the website that is our primary location for chats and email and all that kind of stuff as far as when you need help. Or if you're a client that already has Skype, you can Skype us, and the Skype information is in the actual website. The website is http:// OnTarget Solution being one string of text. If you have any other issues, please contact us. Never hesitate. You get free technical support on the application, and that would provide you with any help that you need. And if you have Skype, we can go live and actually show you live help if that's required. Thank you.